All right, guys, how are you doing? Welcome to Cuck the World. And today, I know you know him. If you know me, we have Steve from Slow News Day. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Thank you, man. It is fantastic to be here. I'm stoked. I'm looking forward to this.
Yes, I got to be on Slow News Day a few times. This is the first time he's on Cuck the World, the first of many. So it's special. And today, we'll be talking about something that is honestly very important, the way things are progressing now with the pandemic. um, we're going to be talking about parallel societies and counter economics as a way to resist the look like the mandates that are going to be coming down once these things start getting regulated more and more and more and more and more, which we know is going to happen. So, Steve, how are we doing today?
Um, got dogs everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Uh, but other than that, I'm doing good.
That's
Um, got to go to a In the Damn Wars event in Sacramento over the weekend. That was good. Fucking little dog. Um, that's hysterical. Uh, the littlest dog is the loudest. It's just like in
it's
real
always
life.
like that.
It
Yeah,
really-
it's
yeah,
always like that.
yeah. Uh, and there were two amazing speeches at the end of the damn wars thing that we got to live stream. You can see them a number of different places. But Angela McArdle from Los Angeles and my buddy Adam Kokesh, just fucking rocked it and drew drew straight lines in their own ways between the global war on terror, 9/11, everything that's gone forward from that, and what we're seeing with the COVID narrative. And if people aren't independently on their own going, oh, wait, we were sold a war on a bill of bullshit and lies. They used these bullshit and lies to enact all kinds of draconian rights reducing, civil liberties eliminating legislation under the guise of this is an emergency and we have to do it. And as soon as we get through this, we'll go back to normal. That's exactly how that went down. Now, it sounded awful familiar. It really is. And it would be very, very hard to find someone who isn't on purpose ignoring it or being paid to put it forward, that we're not seeing identical steps in many cases by the exact same fucking demons that were instrumental in putting forth the legislation and the executive orders in the wake of 9/11.
Yes, and I think Bush recently was speaking out and comparing the terrorists abroad to the domestic terrorists. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, that's funny because they have a lot in common. The fact that it's both propaganda. Um, so it really is insanely it just links up. And I have no idea how people can see anti-imperialist can see the propaganda and the war effort coming back up, but when the fucking story switches to freaking the freaking COVID, all of a sudden, oh no, this is good information.
People are under a mass delusion. Like, that sounds fucked up. And it might sound like, I don't know, mean or weird, but people are under a mass delusion. And there are a number of times throughout history where people have been under mass delusions. The most recent was about 80 years ago, the rise of totalitarianism, which sunrise, sunset, we're seeing that again. Um, and I mean, you could argue that the totalitarianism never left; it just relocated and took a little while to take root. Mostly because of the self-reinforcing propaganda that the West has puffed itself up with. Land of the free. This is a democracy, and the
All
people
that
decide.
bullshit.
So, yeah, yeah. So I mean, we saw on January 6th what happens when a country falls victim to its own propaganda, to the point to where when they do invade the house of corrupt government, they stay between the velvet rope and they like pose for selfies with the security forces and shit like that. Like that's a nation that is fallen victim to its own propaganda. Hook, line,
Yeah,
and fucking sinker.
definitely. Okay, Black in the Empire. Hey, what's up, guys? Michael Zentz. Thank you guys for coming in. American Bison Hunt, S4G3. Um, I had the January 6th for me was one of those, oh shit, I don't belong here thing for me on the left. Um, when I saw it, like when it's funny how some people are making it fun of it now and leftists are making fun of it now, but they were so touchy about it when it first happening. Even if we don't like AOC, guys, she was assaulted. And I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. I don't know. This bitch is a liar. And if she was, fuck the oligarchy. Like, I don't give a fuck about these niggas. So for me, I didn't care what happened to her. So I totally understood, like, on that date, because again, a lot of people do understand this propaganda now, but just watching it when the fucking all the emotion was just fresh, I just realized, like, dude, we are in a different level of propaganda than I once understood. Like, I knew people were out of it, but that should have hinted me to what was going to happen. Seriously.
So I was there for that. I think you know that. And what we saw, and this is conversations that I had with Convo Couch. They were there. Burmis, he was there. Like everybody that I've talked to that was there that day was just kind of like really weird watching a false flag go down in real time. Like really, really weird. And you could, I mean, you knew. The just by the way that it all went down, and by the way that like the only violence that occurred was on the part of the state. The only murders that occurred were on the part of the state, and yet the narrative is, especially on the left, the violent insurrectionists have blood on their hands. It is like you do realize that the Capitol Police are responsible for that, and as a result of the Capitol Police murdering an unarmed woman in cold blood, they were rewarded with branch offices and more money. That's right. That's how they were pushed.
And they let them in. I mean, there's literally freaking footage of them letting them in. There's footage of them getting along, and it's just like them talking and just having a jolly old time. Like, who the fuck thinks that's what an insurrection looks like? I don't know. That's what happened. Like, now I'm like questioning the French Revolution. What actually happened to Marie Antoinette? Like, what actually went down? Because maybe it wasn't. Maybe nothing is the way. That's probably actually the honest truth. Nothing is the way that we thought.
Marie Antoinette actually wasn't even in the palace that day. See, she was in the building across the street and catty corner from it. But she said she got her head cut off like a couple of weeks later when she was describing what happened. And people went, yeah, okay, that sounds reasonable. Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
Hashtag stand with Mary.
Well, dude, so I real quick, because AOC is fucking psychotic and an actress and an Instagram influencer that has a seat in Congress, and that just kind of shows you what the fucking cartoon we live in looks like. But the dress that everybody freaked out about, everybody's fucking making fun of and shit like that, that's part of fucking Build Back Better messaging.
Yeah,
you know, there's a Build Back Better Act legislation in U.S. called the Build Back Better Act, and AOC quote tweeted Joe Biden, Joe Biden's Twitter account, talking about we need to tax the rich. President Joe Biden's Twitter account, we tax the rich. A couple of days later, AOC shows up at the Met and attacks the rich dress. Now, everybody at the Met knows that they're not the rich. the AOC and Joe Biden are talking about. AOC and Joe Biden are talking about small and medium business owners
Exactly.
because 30 to 40% of small businesses got wiped out in the last 18 months. And the ones that remain are the ones, Guy, that employ 100 people or less. You
Yeah.
know, the people that could provide a counter economy to Joe Biden's mandate. If we truly have a free market country, right, there would be businesses that popped up all over the place saying, we don't care if you show us your papers or not. That's up to you. This is not a papers, please store. This is not a papers, please airline. This is not a papers, please bank, grocery store, whatever. We would have that in a free market economy. But since we're not one, and these businesses aren't, within the confines of Joe Biden's 100 employee or more mandate, uh, if you tax them out of existence, it's
Exactly.
easy to get rid of them if they don't want to comply.
Exactly. And that's what I was when I was reading the bill and the also checking out some of the Green New Deal and all that shit. That's what I was noticing is 400,000 people who are making over 400,000, and people who are annual income of a business is 5 million. Depending on how much people you fucking employ, that's not that much. That's insane not to have a ratio to that. Oh, if you're making 5 million and it's one person, okay, yeah. Don't for one, I'm not for taxing, period, because they're just gonna abuse it to bomb people
Right.
and oppress us. So fuck taxes, period. Okay. But if we are gonna fucking tax, and let's say our shit was gonna go to something productive, just saying 5 million without any other, variables to it,
Qualifier. Yeah.
qualifiers is insane. It's really insane. It's obviously going for small business, and the left has lost all type of empathy for small business owners, and landlords. And don't get me wrong, I don't think a lot of landlords or small business owners have helped themselves with this, but I don't think people understand protecting small businesses has nothing to do with protecting the people you don't like that have more money than you. It is from keeping all the resources and services in the hands of big corporations. Because as I try to tell people all the time, there are two places you get resources and services: big corporations or small businesses. And if you don't have small businesses, you are now forced to go to big corporation for your service, your products, and your goods. That helps nobody. That helps nobody. And it's so much easier to overthrow or change the way working class people who are being too greedy do business than it is with the fucking government as we see now. I'll take the working class fucking dude who's getting too greedy and going to talk to him and having, because the union's going to take that guy out. Unions aren't going to take out corporations. So
Right.
people are not thinking about this shit. They're just going for the least. They're vilifying and then going to the least, trying to take out the least empathetic people. They did it with the Magna people, and now white supremacists and anyone who's questions the mainstream narrative is a right wing conspiracy theorist. Like, they're just demonizing, going for that people, and then they're going to demonize you, and then they're going to go for you, and people are falling for it, hook, line, and sinker, man.
The absolute destruction of the mind of the left over the last, I mean, realistically 50 years, but especially because of this period of acceleration that we've been in the last half decade, the last, I'm going to say 10 years post Occupy, the complete destruction of the mind of the left has been one of the most wild fucking things to witness. Like, I joke all the time about this being the dumbest possible timeline because in 2016 Weasel got stuck in the Large Hadron Collider and forced a hard reset of it. So I theorized that that's what, caused a rift in space-time and hurtled us into this, the dumbest of all possible timelines. That, I mean, it's a joke, but I don't know. It's been pretty fucking weird, yo. And so it's been wild to watch this shit go down. The the concept of the Hegelian dialectic, and the guy who came up with what dialectic is and found they set the parameters for it and all that shit is basically the foundation of thought and philosophy of the entire left going forward into like whatever this woke shit is now. It's destroyed what words mean. It's destroyed what rational thought is. It has made critical thinking something to be demonized, which is the whole point of the Hegelian dialectic in the first place, to fucking twist this shit inside out and upside down and make reality meaningless and make the idea, the potential, what is real and what matters. That's what it's. And so if it looks like we're not living in a fucking normal universe or reality, it's because the entire left, just go all the way to the fucking narrative management firms themselves, have made it a mission to destroy reality.
And I swear, like, it's fucking crazy. I cannot tell you how much I relate to that. Like, literally, people will hear it and they'll say it's dramatic, but literally, they're just destroying the lines of fucking everything, and it's insane. And a lot of people are like, and when people are no longer aligning with the left, and they'll shame them. It's like, dude, I think that like Clifton, or one of the guy I follow on Twitter, and he was talking about how, I forgot who quoted, but I didn't leave the left left me. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. Like, I remember everyone was saying a year ago, or a little bit, or basically 2 years ago, I'm anti-big pharma. I'm anti-establishment. I don't trust the media. I don't trust corporations. I don't trust the government. ACAB, abolish the police. I'm still there. I'm still that person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't change. You know what I'm saying? I'm fucking more anti-big pharma and anti-corporation. I'm more pro-working class than I ever fucking was. I'm more fucking skeptical of fucking what they call capitalism than I ever fucking was. But I'm no longer the left. Okay, well, if the left is apparently moving and we're fucking moving, I don't want to be a part of that shit anyway, because that's just fucking insane.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. And this, like, the first protest I ever went to was a Free Mumia event in Indianapolis, Indiana, in like 92 or 93, something like that. And the like activism that I've been a part of predominantly originated from left spaces. These are people that I know. They're people that I fuck with. They're people that I've fucking, like, worked with and collaborated with on shit. And to watch the destruction that has taken place, not just in that community, and this, like, I say destruction, but I'm gonna quote our friend Charlie Robinson and call it a controlled demolition, because that's what it's been. And shouts to Charlie and macroaggressions and Union of the Unwanted and all of that shit. Very, very fortunate to know those guys, be a part of that thing. But the controlled demolition of the left, as as an organizational body, yes, but also the mind, spirit, and health of the individual. Like, that deliberate destruction and demolition, it has brought us to where we are right now. What you just described, the left that I saw or knew even 2 years ago, they have no idea who that person was. And here's the reason why. And it sucks, and it's gonna piss people off. And I'm an activist. And I'm going to tell you that 95% of activism is people who want to get laid, people who want to feel good about shit, people who want to feel good about themselves for having done something without really doing anything, and people who want free shirts.
I believe it. I fucking believe it. Especially these days, man. Those soul boys trying to get fucking laid from being the most self-righteous, moral beta cuck. Oh God. Oh God. I wonder if it ever
And you know
works.
what's even funnier? Like most of those bitches are just looking to get choked right. Like,
That's
and
true.
you've got a bunch of these fucking like just trying to out
Oh
fem
my
each
God.
other dudes, and I'm not look, I'm not trying to, I'm I'm just
Hey,
saying what I'm
we
just
accept
saying what
everybody.
I'm just I'm just saying what's real, and that is sometimes offensive. Um,
That's often offensive these days. Very often
but
offensive.
getting off track a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, you're right.
Um, but no, I mean like that. But activism is so, especially over the last couple of decades, so fucking performative. I went to the battle for Seattle in 1999. I was at the WTO Pros. This is the first time a fucking police officer ever split my head open at a protest.
I think.
So I remember it, Um, that was people coming together for an issue apolitically. And we've lost that so much in activism. Now activism is either Democrat Party sponsored, Republican Party sponsored. It's if you're not XYZ and then several other variables of this label, you have no business being at this protest. You're not allowed to speak at it. If you have an opinion different than me, you can't work with another organizer. Your organization is now, and that's so fucking performative and such a fucking op. And why these people do not fucking realize that is goddamn beyond me.
Camera. Because it's all about the virtue signal. It's all about the virtue signal.
I mean, yo, dude, I know decent artists, and like we could have stickers made up. We can give you a gold medal in the virtue signaling Olympics. You can turn it into a fridge magnet. You can look at it every single day. Or, you could acknowledge what your subconscious is
Use them.
telling you, and that this shit is all performative. Maybe you need to do something real.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I'm kind of in a period of like what the actual fuck. I mean, like it's so obvious. Like to see so many people come out and defend AOC. I mean, like I said, I know their stands are just like never ending, but I mean, God damn, that's just insane to me. There's those people are never coming around. Anyone who's still standing for AOC, and I don't want to go against like I like a lot of Tulsi stands, even though they get mad at me because I talk about their goddess. But I like a lot of Tulsi stands, and I think a lot of them are otherwise smart people when it doesn't come to her, like the bias. But man, the time for still believing in politicians and the electoral college, electoral politics, like guys, we're so fucking far past that. Um, what do you think it's going to take? Do you think? Well, first question would be, do you think there's any more converts left, or do you think we need to completely? Hey, if they're not trying to take action by now, if they're still sucking government cock now, this is done and only worry about the people who understand what's happening and ready to move? Like, do you think there's converts left?
So what I think in every instance, now more than ever, but always, is that if you want something done, if you want movement, you need to lead by example. And if you're not doing that, if you're at least not like I mean, it's one thing for me to sit here and be like, we need to establish parallel structures in societies. We need to practice counter economics. Now I'm off to go punch a clock for a corporation. I work for a defense contractor or some shit. And then, also subscribe to my Patreon. Like, it's one thing to do that. It's another thing to be like, I'm broadcasting to you via satellite internet from the middle of absolute fucking nowhere on a farm where I'm like pretty sure one of the goats might come in and interrupt the interview, you know. Um, so I feel like if we aren't, living by example, it's going to be very, very difficult to persuade anybody else. And I know that there are a number of people who have already been on top of this for years, decades, who have communities that are already networks that are already established, who have been doing mutual aid with each other for a very long time. And so we have the potential in this moment before they shut the fucking internet off, which I don't know when that's coming, but we all know at some point that's coming.
Exactly.
We've got the opportunity right now to network. We've got the opportunity to do the exact opposite of what we're supposed to do, which is meet our neighbors, talk to our neighbors, love one another, and develop anarchist relationships with one another where we voluntarily interact, exchange, and hold no authority over one another, nor do we threaten one another with violence.
I think that's the correct and a beautiful answer. And I mean, I love the fact that you're saying the obvious. If people don't see that you're doing it, they're not going to believe it's possible because there's only going to be a few people who are going to be that brave to be a leader in that way because everyone's going to lead in a certain way. But to be the pioneer who goes and starts doing that and tries to create more, those fuse bunch, it's just a really hard thing to do. And I do think once people see, here's my problem. When it comes to mutual aid network and creating communities and off grid, I do think it's so inspirational and it provokes security. Though I can do this and I can go here, but doesn't it also kind of expose your operation? Like, what's the balance of like marketing a lifestyle where you don't need the government and you can live with just other people, but also not kind of making the spot too hot for yourself? Or is it inevitable, to be honest? Because
I mean, look, we have a 3D mapping project of the planet going on right now. We have Elon Musk with Starlink, which is global real-time surveillance of the planet. There are ways that you can camouflage that a little bit. There are ways that you could, do Faraday and shit like that you can but I mean that's also something that is drawing attention to yourself. It's not about hiding. There's no place to hide anyway, but the whole idea of a parallel structure or a parallel society is to provide a visible example, a visible alternative to the totalitarian one that resides next door, along, or inside of the one that you're in. And so the whole idea here, I guess, is that I do believe that Michael Malice is right when he says that anarchy is not a location, it's a relationship. I'm taking that one step further and saying that because clearly all of our isms have failed us, what we have to do is remove the ism from anarchy, recognize it as a relationship, not a location or even like a lifestyle or whatever the fuck you want to call it, anything that would make it an ism, anything that has dogma or tenets of faith or belief. remove that, recognize it solely as a relationship, look at it as you do not speak for me and I do not speak from you, and all other things flow from that point. And I don't know, dude. I can't say exactly what any of that looks like, but I also know that every single time the worst criticisms of what an anarchist society would look like are exact descriptions of the current status quo.
I noticed the same thing. I noticed the same thing. And I think because people are like, well, there'll be all these problems. There are going to be problems with it, whatever the fuck we do. Like, rather it's working class ran, rather it's what we're going now as we see. It's just, there's always going to be problems. But yeah, I definitely think making the do you think you can, this is mainly an off grid thing, or do you think just you can, anyone can do it in their neighborhood?
No, I know that you can do it everywhere because it happened in Czechoslovakia.
Mm-hmm.
They called it the Velvet Revolution because it was a soft revolution. There was a guy, political dissident. Remember that in 1989, Czechoslovakia was part of the then Soviet Union, East Bloc country. Um, so the totalitarianism that Czechoslovakia was living under had the hat of communism on it, not the hat of Mussolini's fascism or, the British Empire or whatever. Totalitarianism, authoritarianism, it's just different kinds of fucking hats, but all philosophies lead to we need to exterminate certain kinds of people in order to have complete control and a safe and healthy society. It's it. Just different fucking hats and ways of saying that. Um, Václav Havel was a political dissident in the 70s who wrote an essay called Power of the Powerless. This, about a decade later, sparked a student revolution in Czechoslovakia, where Havel and a number of other Czechoslovakian dissidents had been long, dismissed as crazy, destroyed financially, many cases locked up, some cases tortured. Um, and it sparked a student revolution where they took the concepts from Power of the Powerless and brought them out in their cities, in their university towns where their universities were, and then in and around the industrial parts of the cities. And they set up life and stopped using the banking system. They had developed their own currency that they had agreed upon. A lot of cases far out, they just bartered and did whatever they could to extricate themselves from the centralized structures that dominated totalitarian society, but also the things that provided the grease for the wheels of totalitarian society. So when you remove the economic grease, when you remove the labor, when you remove the ancillary goods and services that flow from those two things, machine grind steel, I can't operate. It can't. All the violence in the world isn't going to deliver the ammunition. It's not going to deliver the food. It's not going to deliver, the medical supplies. It's not. It's not. When the people refuse to give that up and are already utilizing it in their own society, the totalitarian society can't. They could fucking, have all the fucking money in the world, but if they don't have places to spend it or ways to take it and distribute it amongst themselves, because we don't think for a minute there weren't people that were standing around their ship pointing guns back out at it. You're fucking crazy. But, that's what it's going to have to take. And I think that there are a number of different ways that we can look at counter economics in 2021 and look at like the ways that we can, conduct and transact and move that are much, much better than there were 30 years ago.
That's amazing. Excuse me. That weed, guys, it got me. So
I might
you
hop
said,
up and go grab a dab if you don't mind.
hey, do what you need to do. I would
I'm
never,
listening, though.
I
Like
would never
right to
forsake
like.
you. I'm gonna read some of these comments. You never forsake a man his dabs, because y'all know I'm getting high. I'm smoking some ginger snap. It's a sativa. It's actually usually I start going to hybrids around now, because so I'm like, ooh, sativa kind of got me a little bit too alert. Hi guys, the Grand Underground Mail System. You know what? That's like actually seriously. I was actually thinking about this because what they're gonna do is they're gonna make it for people who have businesses and they're mailing. They're gonna make it hard. They're gonna make the fucking post system fucked up. We already see what they did to USPS. Even though apparently USPS has this whole surveillance system thing going down. But yeah, so you were saying it looks different ways. It's funny. I kind of barter now, like my services. Anytime I can barter, because I'm a massage therapist. I do like deep neuromuscular therapy work. So anytime I heard someone has an injury, I'm like, hey, you have an injury. Well, I can help with that. I'm always bartering is the way, guys. Um, so when it comes to people who may live in a area that is highly liberal, how do you think they might have to navigate that? As you might know, since you're out in Cali around some liberal areas.
I mean, again, it's one of those things where the quote unquote liberals have just I lovingly embraced the role of totalitarians. I had to do some fancy like hand movement here now with the nectar collector. Um,
Oh, do what you need to do.
I love how it looks like you're like for years I just referred to this as freebasing weed because that's exactly what it looked like.
I have like a
eh,
small little one. It's so small, it's like a crack pipe, guys. That shit looks like a
right.
fucking
Right,
crack pipe. It's
right, right. I
hilarious.
mean, I make jokes about, your barista is your drug dealer and fuck customer service has no place at a coffee shop and just you're here for your drugs, junkie. You can go anywhere you want. But then you fucking dab and it's like, wow, you really look like a drug user.
No, like you really fucking do, but I mean, they're fun. I didn't fuck with them for a long time. I've been dabbing for like 3, 4, 5 years now, but mm, I was like almost only smoking wax for like the last, I don't know, maybe 6 months, maybe. I stopped smoking bud for a while, and I'm like, you know what? I need to calm the fuck down and start smoking bud again because my tolerance is too fucking high. Like I'm just sitting here hitting whack pins, and people are like, "Are you waterfalling and French inhaling with vape pens?" I'm like, you know what? I do need to chill. So I actually did chill, but I still stay high.
Yeah,
Life is wild, guys.
flower doesn't really work anymore. So I don't know, baby. I got spoiled when I lived in Santa Cruz Mountains. My buddy helped start the first legal extract lab in Santa Cruz County, and I was getting carts for fucking basically cost and a little bit, added onto it. It's like flour didn't work. That's the TLDR of that.
Wow.
Um,
I mean, that happened to me for a while, but now it's starting to work again. But it took a transition. But that's how my brother is. Like, flour barely works for him because he smoked only wax. And he doesn't even smoke that much. He'll like smoke for phases. But anyway, sorry guys. We love weed and shit like that. So, you know, have knocked me on my ass before. I've been smoking since 1993. I'm no newbie. Yeah, dabs are something else, especially if the person who fucking did it is a dick and they just give you a lot the first time, those people are such assholes, but they'll get you high.
When you
But
self-administer, you get to decide how much of an asshole you want to be to yourself. So
yeah, yeah. I frequently, you know, with dabs maybe overdo it, but who cares? I get my work done. As long as I'm productive in stone, it's okay. It's okay. These people are like, I came here for fucking parallel societies and counter economics, and they went on a tangent about weed.
for the longest time, cannabis was the preferred form of currency in the county in which I reside, or at least like one of the most acceptable forms.
I mean, I guess I already
So
have been doing this because I mean, bartering, paying people with weed, like, bruh, I'm already doing
I
it,
mean,
guys.
I don't know if you remember or not, man, but there was a period of time in the U.S. where an ounce of weed was worth considerably more than an ounce of gold.
Oh, I know.
So,
The price of weed has plummeted,
and
and
gold
so
has
has
skyrocketed.
yes. So speaking of that,
Because,
currency.
oh, go ahead. Yeah.
So currency, as a resistance. What are you thinking about? What is your I can't wait. Your opinion on crypto? People are saying
Oh.
that. People are saying. um, People are saying that crypto is the way to freedom. It's the way to financial freedom. Now, me personally, I have a lot of reasons why I don't think that, guys. But I want you to I want you to explain it to them, because I'm sure that you have similar opinion as I do.
I've got some reservations. I do. I do. So, okay. So, out of all of the things that I would want to be put on an immutable ledger for anyone to be able to see at any point in time from now in perpetuity, the last motherfucking one is my personal private financial transactions, which is what Bitcoin promises. Now, it half-ass delivers a semblance of anonymity, but no, that's not true, because every time that you hear about a government seizing cryptocurrency and assets, that's because they were able to relatively quickly find out where the owner of that wallet originated from. So, or at least the computer where, and there's a case to be made for like, an extreme layer of protection to anonymity, to make yourself anonymous. I got a little high too. Y'all saw me take that dab, right?
Yes, you'd expect it here,
I mean,
guys.
it's hard as it's like hard as fuck to get even close to anonymous by
Mhm.
using Bitcoin, by using Ethereum. There's only a couple of truly privacy coins, which, I'm in favor of that. I am. But at this point, using Pirate Coin, even using Monero, you are kind of like throwing up a red flag that I'm doing everything that I can to be private, which you should be able to do, by the way, friends and neighbors. That shouldn't be
Exactly.
anybody's fucking business. Um,
Exactly.
but where Bitcoin is, I mean, it's a commodity. I used to joke that it was digital Beanie Babies. Um, but I mean, it's not cash. It's not capital. It's a way to move your fiat and turn your fiat into more fiat, or less, because you're gambling. Um, Mirrors Wall Street in significant ways. and can be manipulated by the exact same forces that manipulate Wall Street in significant ways. So it presents a lot of the same problems that we already have. What I believe is that the concept of cryptocurrency is the door, and it might even be the first step forward, but it is by no means like the end or freedom or anything like that. The potential, of course, is there. But I don't think that making your financial history publicly available is the way to go.
Exactly. I agree. And I'm not like anti crypto. I have money in
No,
crypto. I've made money off
me
crypto.
too.
I lost money in crypto, but I've made more. I'm in a positive right now. Got out of fucking that whole Dodge trend a little early, but I've learned my lesson and at least I didn't end up, holding it. So anyway, so good with crypto. The problem of thinking that it's more secure or a safer bet. Okay, what do you think's harder for the government to control? Cold hard cash, gold, silver, assets, or some digital shit that, let's be real, we know they fucking can easily seize and control. Like it's it's going to make cash obsolete. That's not a good thing. Cash becoming obsolete is actually horrible. So I don't know why
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Yay, cash becoming obsolete." Let's say you don't do what the government tells you to fucking do. As we see right now, people who are not getting the old stabberoonie, it's becoming second class citizens, and they're not letting them get some people aren't being able to go to their medical appointments, and they're talking about not giving them ICU beds and so on, and getting fired. And this is obviously something that they're going to keep doing. And they'll do it with other people as well who don't assimilate. It's not only going to be the people who refuse the old stabberoni, it's going to be anyone who resists the government after a while. But I digress. With that being said, I think they're already doing it in Nigeria. They are not letting people access their bank accounts if they don't
Yep.
get the old stabberoni.
Because
So
it's about your health.
exactly, because it's about your health. So if you starve and you die, it was a sacrifice needed for you to be healthy. Okay. And your kids too. But so if they're already sitting there, and it's going to keep going on to where people are going to go to people's bank accounts. Oh, they took that person's kid away from them. So why the hell would I want something that's so easy for the government to keep me from? When cold hard cash, money, silver, gold, they have to come physically do that. And if they have millions and millions and millions and millions of citizens of assets they have to physically seize, that's way easy. That's way harder for them to do than them just locking down all our bank accounts and our crypto fucking accounts. Like Bitcoin's not going to be like, oh no, or like all these apps and shit. They're not going to be like, oh no, U.S. government, oh no, and especially when it's an international fair, because it will become international. We already have the World Economic Forum all in our shit. All right, the world. So I mean, the United Nations all in our shit. It's going to come international. It's going to be so easy for them to lock that shit down. So again, make your money out of crypto. Do what you do, but pay attention to it. And when it comes to long-term trading, because even with like trading short-term, sometimes you get locked out your account and you can't get fucking put in. Like you just got to know what it is. Like I'm not saying don't do it. I'm actually saying definitely do invest in it. Make money while you can. Look into it.
Yeah.
Really do it. But know what it is. Know that it's at the end of the day, they want to make cash obsolete.
Well, not only that, and I agree 100% with what you said. And I have, what do they call it? Digital assets. I have digital assets. Oh, sorry about. There you go. Oh yeah, got you. Like one lighter in the fucking house. Anyway, yeah, with fluid. Yeah. More dead soldiers than fucking Afghanistan, but one lighter with fluid. Hey, look, dark humor is like food. Not everyone gets
Hey,
it.
hey. Free speech absolutist. Oh, that's
Um,
hilarious.
the
Oh.
fuck was I talking about?
Man, we were talking about.
Oh, crypto. That's right. That's right. No. But look, okay. So I've been telling people, I don't know, for at least a year now, that you should absolutely 100% exploit the crypto market and turn that shit into land and seeds and equipment, and that you can repair, that you can fix, or that you know someone right now who can repair and fix. um and that's what you should be using crypto for. If you also want to turn that into silver or into gold or into some other asset, uh, equipment by which to manufacture bullets, yeah, dude, do that. I've been telling people for years to grow food and buy bullets, but I'm changing that to grow food and make bullets because because where we're at. Like, do these things with crypto, with fiat, with barter, everything you can, but with a focus on pulling it all out of a centralized system. So like set yourself a cash out date.
Um, exactly. And that's one thing that I was learning as well. Looking to swing trading. I'm not even saying that long term. Just keep your ear. Just keep your ear to the fucking news and try and be able to predict when some bullshit's gonna happen. But I think we're going to end it there, Steve. It's been a blast and informative, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Tell them where they can find you. Even though if you're from Twitter, you should already know.
The website is slownewsdayshow.com. You can find us on Rockfin, rockfin.com/slownewsday. Got a link tree. Everything else is pretty much at Slow News Day Show. Entirely viewer supported. There's a GoFundMe that runs and shit like that. And yeah. Thank you.
All
This is
right.
fantastic. And you got to come back on again soon.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I'm gonna get to some of these comments if you want to stay. If not,
Oh yeah, absolutely. And real quick, dude, if you guys haven't seen the last time that Skye was on with Garland Nixon, that was a fucking killer conversation. You should definitely watch that.
I was so fucking high. But yeah, I definitely got to come back on as well for sure, man. I gotta have Ali and Glory, and we gotta have some more people on here as well. But yeah, that was a good one. I just be high as hell, but I remember laughing a lot. So let me get to some of these comments. It is gonna be total way to private freedom. Digital currency for everyone. Yeah, this is what I think. I think it could have been good, but um, yeah. Delta 8 is awesome. I like Delta 8 as well. Hey, hell yeah, Lucky Burrito. You know how to make gasoline from plastic? Hey, look, I need to link up with you. All right. Crossbow, arrow, how to make people know basic skills. I'm learning archery now.
Kick
That's
ass.
yeah, I know.
How does that work with those titties?
Now he's wilding for real. Guys,
I'm serious. How does archery work with that rack, dude? It's gotta
works. It's just a little maneuvering.
All right. Okay. I was gonna say, you could get like recoil suppressants on 308s and shit. You don't need to do that.
Oh my god, bro! I love you, Steve. This is my homie, man. I love you too, bro. You be schooling me. I watch him all the time, trying to ABC the lefties about how politicians don't care. I couldn't even do it anymore, bro. I just started being antagonistic. I try to help them. You're a good man. You're a good man.
Black in the Empire kicks ass, dude. I'd fucking talked to him a couple of weeks ago. I'm gonna try and get him on the show here once he gets settled in. We're
Hell
gonna
yeah, definitely. He'd be a great guest. I definitely have to have him on too. Alrighty, guys. Well, that's about it. Call in next time. Yeah, I need to do um, a call in show as
Oh, we
well.
have a call-in show every Friday. It's called Get Your Shit Together. It's pretty fucking fun.
Oh my God.
And
Do haters call in?
Fiorella Isabel from the Convo Couch is threatening to join us this Friday.
Oh, that would be awesome. Do the haters ever call in?
You know, it's like kind of, but not really. Like there's been a couple of times where like a couple of incredibly uncreative kids have called in and said the ib word a couple of times into the phone, and then that's it. It was like, yo, dude, I'm one of the weirder people you'll ever come into contact with, and I have a call-in show. Take advantage of that because I'm probably going to at least straight face it for the first 30 seconds. Like
Oh
people
man.
have said some wild shit on that show, and I'm like, huh.
Oh. I gotta have a call-in show just to see what's up. That sounds interesting as hell. Boobs for the win, man. Boobs for the win. All right, guys. We're out. I'm about to go smoke some more and eat something and drink because I got cotton mouth like a bitch. Thank you for coming in and
Hell yeah.
chilling with me. See you guys next time.